testimony, and we'll now proceed to the question and answer session. And I'll begin first. Mr. Turkle, America has led the world by banning the import of products made with forced labor. I was proud to vote in 2015 to update our forced labor import ban, and again in 2021 to pass the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act to address the unprecedented scale of the Chinese Communist Party's systematic use of forced labor. And yet there are credible reports of products made with forced labor still entering the United States. What more can we do through our trade policies to shine a light on China's human rights abuses and crack down on products manufactured from forced labor entering the U.S.?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the question. We can do a number of things to address that concern. First of all, we have to look into the country of origin concern. The law, the UFLPA, specifically focuses on the Uyghur region that is formerly known as Xinjiang. But we do also know that there have been instances that the Chinese government supported entities making the product without labeling and taking to the inland and then exporting to another country and making to the United States. That includes Mexico and Canada. So we need to close the loophole, starting with the addressing the country of origin concern, making a new rule. And then two, we have to work with our partners and allies to encourage them to put in place similar type of legislative mandate. And Europe is about to becoming dumping ground for forced labor-produced products. Italy, during the period of 2019 through 2020, increased its import volume from Xinjiang almost by 200%. So the Europe needs to catch up, so as our Asian allies, Japan, Australia. And then finally, we have to continue to increase the enforcement mechanism in the United States with additional resources and tools. I know that Congress approved $70 million for enforcement. We have to continue to add funding so that our CBP colleagues can do their job. And finally, I would look into a possibility of amending the UFLPA to make it applicable to entire country, China. That one geographical area has been focused, but we may end up seeing human trafficking, internal migration.
Thank you. Mr. Romano, as you know, President Trump imposed tariffs on China because of its unfair trade practices under Section 301 of the 74 Trade Act. And President Biden has kept these tariffs in place so far, although his administration is currently conducting a 4-year review of the tariffs and may make changes as a result of that review. As a company that has had to deal directly with China's unfair trade practices, can you speak to the relationship between these tariffs and the protection of American production and jobs?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, so I've been with the company that I'm working for now for 35 years, and we have historically seen plants close due to Chinese imports. So we had a plant in Savannah, Georgia, that closed in 2004, and the other half of that plant closed in 2007. And it was directly related to Chinese imports for, I'd say, a lower grade of TiO2 that was sold into the paper industry. We're not the only company that closed production. There was another facility in Delaware that closed for that. So how have those 301 tariffs impacted us since then? There hasn't been any capacity actually eliminated since the trade barriers were put in place, the tariffs on TiO2. And it's actually allowed us to expand our facility in Hamilton, Mississippi. We have spent $135 million, a 15% increase in capital spend since those tariffs were put into place. We have a $55 million payroll at that facility with 450 employees, about 120 to 150 contractors working at that facility every day as well. So it's not only helping us maintain our production globally, but it's also helping us maintain jobs. Many of our employees have been with the company for many years. It's generations. I said I've been with this company for 35 years. There's been somebody in my family that's worked for this company for 72 years. So the U.S. is a big part of what we do. That Hamilton facility that we have in Mississippi is our crown jewel, and we're looking at opportunities now to try to see how we might be able to expand that business into the rare earth space and take some of the resources we have out of South Africa and Australia and bring them to the United States for upgrading.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Heminger, trade enforcement is about making sure that our partners provide the access to markets that they were promised. Today, Canada is not meeting its obligations under USMCA as it relates to American dairy exports. If the U.S. fails to enforce obligations under our trade agreements on dairy products or any other, what does that mean for farmers such as yours or other businesses?
We just simply aren't going to be able to continue to compete when it's a one-way street. We need a level playing field, and the American public and people need to realize that, generally speaking, we're either going to be importing all our fruits or vegetables, or we're going to stand up for labor and equal opportunities for American farmers. Right today, like I said, we can't ship our milk to Canada. I expanded my dairy 30 years ago thinking that market would open up. But yet, at Hunts Point, right here in New York City in the Bronx, there's New York cabbage out of storage. My first attachment is the Hunts Point report from Friday. And on it, it shows a few products out of storage in Canada. You look at this again in July through November, every single product here will have a Canadian entry on it. At the same time, my milk can't go to Canada. It's just common sense.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Oshai, one quick question. In your opening statement, you made a comment about the Chinese investing in a company in a GSP nation. What's that country that you were referring to?
They're very clever in circumventing our trade laws. So a question like that, I have to think. And at this point, Serbia is the GSP country.
Okay. Thank you very much. I recognize the ranking member, Mr. Nill, for questions.
Thank you for Thank you for your informative testimony. The common theme is pretty clear. Enforcement.